Hi, Salesforce Development Day 16. Let's see what we are going to learn today. We'll quickly go through the previous session of overview and we'll talk about the primitive data type, long, double, and decimal. What is the differences between the decimal and the double primitive data types? And primitive data type string, we will talk about date-time methods, and date methods and date-time methods, Boolean ID, and then we will move on to the next data type. And also we have a homework. This is overall today's agenda. What did we learn in last class? Apex features, advantages, disadvantages of the Apex, data
Integer
types.
data types.
Right. Integer data types. Primitive data type integer we have seen in the last class. Now with continuation of that, we are going to talk about the long. So let's go ahead and see. Long data type. So basically the long data type is used to enter the or used to store the larger number which is greater than integer, whatever the limit is there, integer limit. So more than that, if you wanted to store the values into the any variable, we have to go with the long. So syntax will be data type variable equal to value. Example, long number. You have to specify the data type long, and the variable name is num3 equal to some number. I'm giving it. At the end, I'm adding the L. At the end, I'm adding the L. I'll explain what is that. And the limit storage value for this one is, it's a more than billion, which is a 9 quintillion 223 quadrillion. So let me write it here. It's a more of it's a quantity. So it's between 9 quintillion and then 223 quadrillion and 372 trillion. So this is like from the minus 9 quintillions to the plus 9 quintillion. So that is the limit. So that means if you have a number which is more than 2 billion, because the integer holds the 2 billion, minus 2 billion to the plus 2 billion. So if you have a more than 2 billion, then you can store the data into the long. And the data types ensure that the value that are stored within the range of valid value and provides a way to work with a large number of your code. So that means by using this long primitive data type, developer can implement or write a code that can store more than 2 billion data inside the Apex. Take a notes of it, then we will move on. We will see the example. It's done. Taking the notes. So let's see the example. Now let's go to the developer console. Debug, open, execute anonymous. Open, execute anonymous. Now here, yesterday we have written some logic, right? So we have written this integer in1 equal to 30, right? Integer in2 equal to 40. Now if you want to make a sum of it, you can make a sum of it. Then if you wanted to print it, you can print the system.debug in1 value plus in1. Right. Similarly, I'm printing the in2 value, system.debug in2 value, which is in2, and then finally the result integer result equal to in1 plus in2. Then I can print the system.debug. Result is res. Right, and I'll highlight this, execute the highlighted one. Right, so we have a in1 is a 30, in2 is 40, total I'm getting the 70. So that is perfect. Now you can also assign the minus. You can also assign the minus values. Now if I assign minus 40 here, click on execute the highlighted and click on the execute. Now we will get the output. So minus 30 minus 40, we are getting the minus 10. We can also assign the minus values. Now this is the integer. This is integer declaration. Now, for example, I'm going to the long declaration. This is long. Now, long, the data type is long. Now here, I'll say that in4 equal to, in the long, you can also declare the normal integer value. Now, if I say long in4 equal to 78, then I'm going to print the IN4 long value. And here I am going to print the code. Now, will it take? Yes, it will take. That means we have a -9 into the +9 quotient, right? So it will take everything, even integer also it will take. Even integer also it will take. But in case if you have a larger data, now for example, I have this. So we have a 9 times 3, 6, and 9. Okay. So if you are giving this long data, will it take? It will take and it will print it. It will take, it will print it. But if I add more than 9 values, I'm adding the 10 values, right? Integer in the length of the number execute the highlighted one. What it is saying that it is saying that illegal assignment. Illegal assignment. When it say illegal assignment, because you cannot, if you have a value more than 9 digits, if you have a more than 9 digits, the number is a more than 9 digit, long does not take it. If you want long to be taking anything more than 9 digits, then you need to add a L at the end. You need to add a L at the end. Now let me show you the value here. Executed. Now it will execute and it is going to print only the what are the 10 digits are there, only 10 digits it will print. L it will not take. L is to let the system to understand. Let the system to understand this is the long data type. This is long data type so that it will be taken care. Now, here the big number if you give after 9 it will take it. Click on a debug. Now it is taken the complete number, right? So that means after the 9 digits, if you still have a number, enter the number, but at the end, specify the L. That means if you do not specify the L, long accept the integer as well as the long both it will accept. If you do not specify the L here, system will think this is an integer. System will think it is an integer because long is accepting both integer as well as the long. Now if you say long IN4, then what will happen here if you have a more than 9 digit number is there, then you need to specify the L. Then you need to specify the L at the end. Postfix, you have to append this L to the whatever the number is there, you need to add that L so that it is going to take the data. Otherwise, it will not take. So that's about the long. Very rare scenarios in the real time using the long. If you have a very big number, more than 9 digits, then only we will use it. And the next one is a double. Double is basically it's a floating point number or a decimal point. That means example, you have a pi is a 3.14, right? So this double number 1 equal to num1 equal to 3.14 or double num2 equal to 1.41. So double is nothing but if you have a decimal or a floating point numbers, right? So in that case, you will use the double. And double is the primitive data type used to store the floating point number with the decimal places. And this data type allows you to perform mathematical operations such as a multiplication on decimal value. Now, if you have some decimal value on the multiplication, like a pi value, what are the pi value is there? If you wanted to multiply the pi value with a different one, so you can use the double, right? It provides also you can store the, what are the decimal values are there, you can assign those values to this num1. For storing also, it will help you. Now, limits on this. limits on the double primitive data type in Apex are approximately minus 1.79 e power of 308 and plus 1.79 e power of 308. So from the minus 1.79 e power of 308 and then plus 1.79 e308. And these are the minimum and maximum values that can be held inside the data type, double data type. Now, how can we declare the double data type? So, double data type, when you say here 3.14, does it accept the integer values also, or does it accept the only decimal value? Only decimal places. Only decimal places. Now, let's see here. Double. Now, for the double, I'll say double, let's say currency equal 225 or 225, and also I'll declare the double, say convert currency equal to 89.45. And now I'm going to print the system.debug, and let's say this is the currency. Say I'm going to print the currency here. I'm going to print the currency, and then system.debug, convert currency, and I'm printing the convert currency. Now it is taking as a different one. Convert currency US. Fine. Have a normal integer value as well as the decimal. Now let me print this, execute the highlighted one. Now currency, it is taking it as a currency. Let's take it as a US currency. Click on execute the highlighted one. Now we have the information that is displayed. Now it is printing the, for integer, what is happening? For integer, automatically after the 225.0 it is adding. After the 225, if you do not specify the decimal, automatically it is adding the dot 0. After the integer, it is adding the 0. If you specify the decimal value, or if you specify the what are the floating point is there, after the dot we have a 45, so it is the exactly same it is taken, right? Now here we have a 89.45, it is giving this, but if I specify without a decimal point, what it is taking? It is taking after 225.0, it is adding the dot 0 at the end of the integer. So that means double is automatically accept the integer, but it will convert that into the decimal. And one more thing, remember, the left side, whatever the data type is there, left side, whatever the data type is there, the right side, it should be the value should be the, which is referring to the same data type. That means you cannot specify double currency US equal to some string value. Now, if it is a data type double, the value is also which is related to the double. The value also which is related to the double. So, whatever the data type is here, the left side, right side value also which is equal to the same data type, which is equal to the same data type. And that is double. Now we also have another one apart from this double. We also have another one which is called decimal. Decimal is also used to store the decimal values. It is also used to store the decimal values. That means example decimal num1 equal to 10.5, decimal num2 equal to 3.14, which is similar to the double. Now we will see what is the differences. But decimal is we are using to store the decimal values, right? So whatever the double is storing it, the same values we can store it in decimal also. And this data type is useful for same mathematical calculation or a financial calculation, right? And store the manipulated decimal values into the larger number in this, or you can store the decimal points into these variables. And the limit for this minus 10 power of 38 to the 10 power of 38, minus 10 power of 38 to the plus 10 power of 38. Now here, what is now let's see that how can I declare the decimal. Now let's say for example, let's say write a program to calculate area of triangle. I wanted to calculate the area of triangle. So what is the triangle mathematical calculator? What is the normal calculator?
Into base into height.
Sorry? The area of triangle calculator. Like how do you calculate the area of triangle? The usual calculation is a base multiplication of height and then multiplication of 5% or 0.5. So this is the, assume that this is the calculation. Now you have to do this calculation. You need to implement this calculation. So what I'll do is decimal base equal to, let's say, 100.5656 colon, and then decimal height equal to 95.21 and the decimal. Now final output I'm going to store it here. Decimal equal to decimal the triangle of area T area equal to, so I have a base multiplication of height 5 0.5. Then I'm going to print system.debug. System.debug. Let's say that decimal output. Plus whatever the T area is there. This is the calculation. Normal height I have taken it. Normal height I have taken. And then base, some base I have taken here. So I have calculated this. So let me execute this decimal base height, and then finally I am calculating the area, multiplying the base, multiplication of height, multiplication of 0.5. Now let me execute this. Just execute the highlighted one. Now let's see the debug. Now T area which is coming as a 447 4,787.15880. So this is the output I am receiving it. Now same thing if I do it. Same thing if I do it with the double. Same thing if I do it with the double, how it is going to take it. Now let's say here I am going to use the same thing, but only the data type I am going to change it as a double. Only the data type I am going to change it as a double. Now let me change here d base, d height, d triangle of area. Now let me execute the double. Execute the highlighted one. Click on debug. Both the thing which is displaying perfectly fine. So only thing is double does not take the zero. Right decimal will also consider the zero. Decimal will also consider the whatever the ending zero is there, it will also consider the ending zero. Now let me execute both of them. Execute the highlighted one. Now click on a debug. Now see decimal output is the first one, double output is the second one. The second one is double output. Right decimal will also consider the ending zero. Double without zero it is going to display. Now, programmatically, we do not see much differences. Programmatically, we do not see much differences. But now let me implement one more example. Let me take one other example. Let's say write a program. Write a program to calculate simple interest. Simple interest, which is nothing but a PTR by 100. Now this I am going to do it here. What I will do, integer p equal to, let's say 200. Integer p equal to 200. And next one is t. I'll take it as a decimal. Decimal t equal to 10.4. 10.4. Double whatever the r is there. R I'll store it as a some 45.2. And then finally, whatever the result is there, result I'll store it into the double. Now here I'm taking the different data types. Here I'm taking the different data types by 100. Now p is a integer, t is a decimal, r is a double. Right? Now let me print the system.debug. System.debug. Now let's say simple interest. Concatenation, whatever the result is there, I'm printing the result. Now let's execute this. Execute the highlighted one. It has taken some time. It has taken some time to show me the output. Right? So click on the what it is happening. I'm getting the output. I'm getting the output. So if I use, there is some slowness which I could see. There is some slowness which I could see. For example, if I take everything is a double. Everything double. Click on execute the highlighted one. Now, which is fine, which is giving me the information. Let's assume that everything is a decimal. I'll consider everything is a decimal. Let me execute this. Now, there is a delay. Slightly delay because we have written only the small program. Result is same. Result is same. Every time I'm getting the 940.16, every time the result is same. But what is exact difference between the decimal and double in the apex? When you use decimal, what will happen? When you use double, what will happen at the back end? So the back end, the decimal, if you use a decimal or a double, two things are which are mainly affected. One is a storage space. One is storage space. So the decimal data types requires more storage space. It requires more storage space. So what is the limit of the decimal? Minus 10 power of 38 to the plus 10 power of 38. So it requires the more storage space. The decimal data type stores the values as a base of 10, which requires more bits to represent the same value, right? Whenever it is storing at the back end, it requires more space for the decimal. Whereas a double type requires a less storage. Double requires a less storage. It does not have a kind of a base 10 storage space or nothing is available for the double. And double data type stores values as a binary. But whereas decimal, it stores the value as a base 10. Right? Binary is nothing but 1010, some values will be there. Base 10 is a different, right? Which required a lot of space, which require a lot of space. That is the first difference between the decimal and double. And the second one is a performance. You might not see, or a user might not see the differences between the decimal and double, but at the back end, what is happening, the second one is a performance. The decimal data type is slow because it is storing the value as a base 10. It is storing the value as a base 10 and it requires more bits to represent the same value. In that case, it will take a lot of time to store the value at the back end. Whereas double is storing into the binary format. Double is storing into the binary format. So usually how the binary formats are, whenever we are executing any logic, it is faster than as required, like a less processing power to perform mathematical operation. It will not take that much longer time. Right now, whatever we have implemented, very basic, simple interest which we have implemented, which is a 3 lines of code or 4 lines of code. So that's the reason we could not see the performance issues. But when you go for a long code, like you are writing a 300 lines of code or 200 lines of code, everywhere you are taking it as a decimal. Wherever you are declaring the floating point with a decimal, then everywhere you are considering the data type as a decimal. So 1 point, if you consider the 1 point decimal, that is totally fine. But if you are declaring the variable almost 20 times you have preferred the decimal. So ultimately what will happen at the back end, your data storage will go down. Your data storage will it's there and performance will be, it is going to slow down. If you take a double, then it won't be because it is storing into the binary format. It is a simple. In general, we choose the decimal data type. In general, we choose a decimal data type. We need to store the decimal values with a high degree precision. So this is up to the developer which one they wanted to go for it, decimal or a double. Choose the double data type when you need to perform a mathematical operation or a floating point of value, or if you have a larger values if you wanted to calculate larger values if you wanted to calculate, better go for a double. Now, in case if you are concerned about the storage, then always go with the double data type. If you do not have a storage, if you think that you have a storage is less, then always I would suggest to go for a double. Take a notes of it. Done with taking the notes? So that is the differences between the decimal and double. Now the next one is a primitive data type string. This is used to store the text values such as a name or a product description, any string that you wanted to store it, you can store it into the data type called string. Syntax is data type, variable name, value. Example, string first name equal to John. String first name equal to John. So you can specify any string data type. Let's say here for string data type debug, open execute anonymous. Let's say string data type string data type. Let's say string first name equal to John and string last name equal to. Now you can concatenate this. What are the string full name is there? Full name equal to, take the first name, concatenation of it. Place is nothing but a concatenation, and then I'll give a space to here plus last name. I'm going to print this system dot debug. Let's say full name concatenation. I'm going to print the full name. Let's execute this, highlight this, execute the highlighted one. Now click on the debug. Now it is receiving the John David. So not only this, what you can do is, in case if you wanted to add your own text instead of the first name, you wanted to add the any text. For example, I'm going to add it to the full name string. Let's say greetings. So I'll say hello. Whatever the full name is there on top, I'm going to use that full name. Now system.debug. Let's say this is a greetings. Going to print the greeting. Now if I execute everything, highlight this string part of it and execute it. Now if I click on this debug, only it is going to print the first full name is John David and the greetings are hello.david. Now for example, if you wanted to know the length of this string, right? Length of the string. Now what you can do here, dot, we have a different greetings dot, we have a different methods. In the string, we have a different methods. In every data type we have. Now let me show you that. Google give data type in Apex. Now if you go to the Salesforce page, whether it is these are the primitive data types: Boolean, date, datetime, decimal, right, double, ID, integer, long, object, string, right? And inside this we have a different method. So if you wanted to know the string classes, open the string methods. Now in the string is basically it is a class in the Apex. Inside this you have a different methods are there. Inside the string you have a different methods. That means if you wanted to find the length of the string, if you wanted to find the length of the string, then you have to use the length is the method. You have to use the length is the method. So here we have a length. This is the length, which is the length of it. Now, for example, if you wanted to def, so there are so many methods are there. If you wanted to check whether the string is null or not, you wanted to check whether the string is null or not. So we have a something called is null. Is not blank, is empty, or is blank. Right? Is it a blank or not? Is it empty or not? If it is a not blank, if it is not blank, or if it is not empty, if it is not empty, then only go for it. Or if it is a numeric, is it everything is a numeric? Is it everything is a numeric? Or is it alphanumeric? Or is it only alpha? Is it only alpha? Now let me show you that. Now let's take here system.debug. Now I'll add one more time. So this is a greetings length. Greetings length. So I wanted to find out complete length of this string. I wanted to find out the complete length of this string. In that case, greetings dot length. Greetings dot length. Now this is going to give me the length. Now similarly, I wanted to find out if this string contains any number. Is this string contains any number? I'll say here is numeric. Is numeric. Similarly, is this string contains all the alpha? Is this contains all the alpha? Right now, let me execute this entire string. Click on the execute. Debug. So here greetings length is 70, right? So is length is containing the numeric, which is a false. Is length is containing the alpha. Now here it is the alpha. Returns the characters. Now let's go to the alpha. Now you can check here ABC. If it is a true, then it will return or not. Right? If it is a alphanumeric, then it will return 21 is there, so it is returning the why it is giving for us alpha. Greeting, this is the number check, and this is alpha check. Execute this again. Click on execute. Now debug. The alpha it is giving the false. Why it is giving the false? Everything is a alpha. Now there is a character. Now let me take out that character. Now let me take out this. Click on execute. Debug. And still it is giving the false. What is the reason it is giving the false? Let me check. Now John David, and let's give here Hello. Now let's execute this. Execute the window. Execute the highlighted one. Now still it is giving the false. Now basically it will accept only the Unicode letters. Only Unicode letters. So if I the ABC, which is a Unicode letters, what are the Unicode letters are there? Only it is going to accept that particular one. In case if you are not clear about the Unicode letters, now go ahead here, search for it, Unicode letters. Right, you will find the list of the Unicode letters here. Right, so what are the A to Z is there? Between the A to Z, what are the Unicode letters? Only it will accept those letters. If you have those letters inside that, then only it is going to accept. If the entire text is only the Unicode letters, then only it will return the true. If all the characters are current strings are only the Unicode letters, then only it is going to return true. Otherwise, it will return the false. So that's about this string. And let's see the questions. What are different data types in Salesforce? What are different data types in Salesforce?
Integer, string, double, float,
Decimal, date,
long,
string, ID.
What are those?
data types,
Which data types? Those all are primitive
primitive
data
data.
types. So here the question is, what are different
Okay.
types of data? Different types of data in
Primitive and
Salesforce.
primitive, enumeric, or S object, collection.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a primitive data type, S object data type, collection data type, and the enumeration data type. Now, what is primitive data types? What is primitive data type?
It stores simple values such as numbers, strings, and dates.
Predefined
Those are the
data.
different type of primitive data types. Those are different type of primitive data types. But here I'm not asking the different type of primitive data types. What is primitive data types?
It is a traditional data type which is used to store simple values such as numbers, strings, and dates.
Okay. Who is providing the primitive data types?
Salesforce,
Salesforce. So primitive data types are predefined by the Apex language, right? It is predefined by the Apex language, and those are stored to store the simple values such as a number, string, dates. We use a primitive data type. Also, we call it primitive data types. Are what else we call primitive data type? There is another name for primitive data type.
Traditional data type.
Traditional data types, which is available across all the programming language. Now, what are different data types? What are different primitive data types are available?
Integer, long, double, decimal, date, time, Boolean, string, ID.
Next, so we have it. How many type are there? How many total count?
9.
9.
9. 9.
9 different data types are there: integer, long, double, decimal, date, time, Boolean, string, ID. Total 9 we have. Now, what is the differences between the decimal and double?
In decimal, the storage space is
Storage and performance. Decimal takes
double with
more storage
space
compared to
Right. So the differences is between the storage and performance. Storage, which one is going to take a more storage, decimal or double?
decimal.
Decimal.
Why it will take more storage in decimal?
Because it's in base 10 storage value.
It stores the values in the format of base 10. Now, next we will move on to the date. Next we will move on to the date primitive data type. Date is used to store the date values. Date is used to store the date values, like such as a birth date, event date, right? So you can use the data type as a date and give the variable as dt1. Now, date is the primitive data type in the Apex. It does not have any like a limit or nothing is available for the date primitive data type. So it only stores the date information. It only stores the date information. In the date also we have a different methods. In the date also we have a different methods. Now date dot today. In case if you wanted to get the today's date, or there are other things also available, date dot new instances, date dot new instances, year, month, day. Now let me show you this. Now let's take an example. Let's go here. Let's say close all of this. Now debug, open, execute anonymous. Now here we are going to date. So for date, now let's say data type is date. Now here I'm going to give it as a, let's say date 1 equal to date dot today. Date dot today. Today is the method, date is the class. Wherever you see the dot or here like this, that means this is the class. Date is the class. Inside that class, we have a so many methods are there. We have a so many methods are there. Inside this class, so many methods. This is the one of the method. How do you know that this is the method? Because methods are always having the open and close bracket. Open and close bracket. So wherever you see, that is the method. So methods are always having the open and close bracket. So this today is the method. Now if I specify this today, what will I get? How will I get the date? How will I get the date? System.debug. Let's say this is a today's date. Today's date colon plus, let's say date 1. Date 1. I'm going to print this. Which format is it going to give me? Execute the highlighted one. Let's click on this. It is giving me the year, month, date, and the time is in all the format of 000. Because I did not ask for a date, time. Date is just holds the date information. It does not hold the time. But it will show you the time always 000. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. It holds only the date. Date is in the format of year, year, month, and then date. Year, month, and date. Right? Year, month, and date. So this is the format which we have. Now, if you use the date time is going to give me the date that we will see later. Right now, we are seeing the date. So date of this, it is giving me the today's date. Today's date is 11 July 2023. 11 July 2023, which is given. For example, if I wanted to have my own custom date, if I wanted to have my own custom date. Now in that case, I do not want to get the today's date. I wanted to get the custom one. I wanted to get the custom one. In case, for example, date, let's say date 2 equal to date dot. If you want to have a new custom one, you have to always go with the new instance. The method is called new instance. So in this new instance, you have to provide the year. Let's suppose 2022, month, let's give a 07 or a 7, or day, let's give the 11. Now this is my custom date. I am providing the custom date here. If I provide the custom date, how am I going to, how it is system is going to take this date and how it is going to print it. Let's say that this is a custom date. Custom date, date 2. Now let me execute both of them, highlight and execute the highlighted one. Click on the debug. Now here it is giving me the 2022. This is a July 11th of 2022. This is the custom one, and the above one is the today's date. That means if you give the custom year, month, date, it will convert into the same format, which is a whatever the YYY hyphen MM hyphen DD. So this is the format it is going to accept. Right? Now today's date is this one. Let's assume that there is a scenario that today the case is created. Okay, the case is created, and I wanted to check from today's to the next 30 days. After the 30 days, automatically the case has to be closed. After the 30 days, the case has to be closed. Now, how will I do it? How will I do it? First of all, how can I calculate adding the plus button of the date? Now, in the date, we have a different methods we have. In the date, we have a different methods. The first one is a add days. The first one is add days. Add days is basically if you want to add an additional day. Now, this is the created date. This is the created date. And I wanted to store another date of the last day. I wanted to store another day or another field which will store the last day of it. So that means what I can do, I can add here 30 days, right? I can specify the 30 days here. Let's say here date, right? Date 3 equal to whatever the date dot today is there. Date dot today plus a dot. I'm going to add the add days. How many days I'm adding? 30 days I'm adding it. 30 days I'm adding. So I'm going to print it the system.debug. System.debug. This is the add days. Now whatever the date 3 is there, that is the date 3. Now click on this, highlight, execute it. Now click on this, execute the highlighted one. Click on debug. Now it is adding the from July 11th, 2023, it is adding the 30 days, which will be August, right? August 10th. August 10th. 10th August 2023. So it is adding the 30 days of it. It is adding the 30 days of it. Right? So that is for the 30 days adding. You can add the 30 days. Now let's suppose now sometimes you have to print it like this. Now let's say that add days. Now for example, today's date. I wanted to add in the comment, I wanted to add this. Another. If whatever we have, okay, so here I am starting the single quote and ending the single quote, but in between also I wanted to add one more single quote. What is this means? I wanted to see the output today's date, today's date. Like this, I wanted to see the output. I wanted to see the output today's date colon 2023 hyphen whatever the month 07 hyphen 11. So this is how I wanted to see the output. But as soon as I add here a single quote, immediately everything is changing. Immediately everything is changing. Now how can I add a single quote within the already commented? Already I have a single quote. Within that, I wanted to print another single quote using like this today's date colon 2023-07-11. Now, if you want to add another single quote here, always use the slash, forward slash. Use the forward slash and then quotation. In between this, if you want to add a quotation, single quote, then use the forward slash quotation, then you can see the output. Now let me execute this, execute the highlighted one. Now it is going to give me the today's date. Here I have a single quote which is displaying it, right? Now, which is displaying perfectly fine. So like that, I can add a number of days. Number of days I can add. Not only the plus, you can also add the minus. You can also add the minus days. Now let me execute this. Debug. It is going back to the June 11th, 2023. It is going back to the June 11th, 2023. So you can add a plus, add the days as a forward or a backward also you can add it. In the real time, we do not add a minus because there is no such scenario. If you have a scenario, you can add a minus, but usually we always look for the forward dates. So we usually add days plus 30. We usually add days plus 30. Now here we are adding the add days. Now if you want to add a 4 days, you can add the 4 days. Right? Instead of taking this today's date dot today, you can directly refer the date one also here. You can directly refer the date one here. Right? Which is also possible. Now this is the days. For example, if I want a month, now we have another method which is called as a add months. Add months. It will add the specific months to it. It will add the specific month to. So for example, I wanted to add a month to this date. I wanted to add a months to this date. Let's say date. So this is a custom. So this is today's date. And this is a custom date. And this is a add days. And the next one we have a month, add month. For adding the months, let's say date, new date, equal to, let's say whatever the date I have, dot, I'm going to add months. I wanted to add a 4 months to it. I wanted to add a 4 months to it. Now let me print the system.debug. System.debug. Let's say this is the new date. Let me execute this, execute the highlighted one. Click on debug only. New date is, it is added the +4. 7 + 4, which is nothing but it is taking the 11. November 11, 2023. November 11, 2023. Find that is the month. Now, in case if you wanted to add a days, if you want to add a days, you can go for it. Just add days. Or let's assume that you wanted to know what is the date, what is the day of it, whether it is a Monday, Friday, or what is the day of it. What is the day of it? In case if you wanted to know that, we have a something called days. You can also add a year. Year is also same way you can add it the years. If you say here add years and if you provide the number, the years are going to add it. For example, day. Day is nothing but it will return the day of month. What is the day of month component of a day? Now, for example, if I specify here, let's go day. Now I'm going to add it here. Let's say system.debug. Whatever the new date is there, that new date dot, I'm adding the day. Now let me execute the highlighted one. Debug. Now it is the day is 11. Day is 11. Now this is the 11th day. Now for example, day of year. Inside the year, what is the day of year component of date? What is the component of date? Now if you wanted to find the differences between the days, like you have a 2 dates are there. Now you wanted to find the days between those two. How many number of days gap is there? How many number of days gap is there? For example, now we have there is a, assume that I have a days between date, I have a first date equal to date dot new instance. I'm going to take it 2023, month is 01 or 1, and day is, let's take it as a 1. And similarly date, we have a second date equal to date dot new instance, date dot new instance. Year is, let's take 2023, month is, let's take the 2, and day is 1. Now in between this, I wanted to find out what is the number of differences between this. Now in order to find out the number of differences, you need to take a first date dot days between, and then you need to pass the second date. You need to pass the second date. Right, let me print this system dot debug plus days between. Now let me execute this, execute the highlighted one. Now let's say debug, it's a 31 days. The differences are 31 days. Now if you wanted to store this value into somewhere, if you wanted to store this value, now which data type you will take it in order to store this value? You wanted to store this value in one variable. Let's assume that number of days equal to first day dot dates between. Now here I am going to provide the which data type should I need to take it? Which data type should I need to take it?
Okay.
Integer.
It should be integer. It should be integer because what is the output I'm receiving it? I'm receiving the 31. 31 is a integer. Now I can print it here. Let's execute this. Execute the highlighted one. Right, it is printing me the 31. Similarly, we have a few more methods like a days in month. Days in month. Now, if you wanted to find a days in month, so it returns the number of days in the month for the specified year. Right? So you have to provide year and month. You will be able to find the number of days in the month. How many days are there in the month? Format. Format is the one, it will return the date as a string using the local of the context. For example, right now it is receiving in the format of date. Now on top, if you take this, right? So this we have it. Now this we have it. For example, if I take this also, second date. Now if I print the second date, how it is printing the second date? Second date. Right, so this is the second date. Now if I try to execute it, it is printing in the YYMMDD in the format of this. But I wanted to change the format of this. Now if you want to change the format of this, then you need to use the dot format. Dot format method. Dot format method. Click on the execute highlighted one. Debug. Now it is going to change it into the date, month, and year. But this is a string format. When I change it to the format, it will convert from the date to string. It will convert from the date to string. Now, if you try to store this, now second date dot format. Second date dot format. If you store it in date, let's say another format date equal to second date dot format. If I try to execute this, what it is saying that string to date illegal assignment. String to date illegal assignment. Because as soon as whenever you say format, it is converting the date to string. Your date is converted to the string. It is changing the format. The way it is displaying the format, it is changing it. But similarly, it is converting the data type also. So format does two things. One is changing the way of displaying the date, and the second one is updating or converting the date data type to the string. Two things which will be done by the format. Two things which are done by the format. Now next one is if you wanted to add a leap year. This is the leap year. Now what you can do, you can pass the year so that you can identify whether it is the leap year or not. Whether it is a leap year or not. Whether it is a leap year or not, you can find out. Take a notes of it. Done? Okay. So let's move on. Now next we will see date, time, date methods. Few of them are there. Is same day. If you wanted to compare the same day. For example, you have a first date, right? Is the first day dot is the same day as the second date. Second date. If you want to compare this, if you wanted to know that first date and second date both are the same date, then you can use the is same day. Is same day. Right? Now that is the is same day. The next one is a month. If you wanted to know the month of it, returns the month component. You have provided the date. From that date, you wanted to know the month. So you can use the month. Similarly, month between the first date and second date. Month, how many months are there between the first date and second date? If you wanted to know the number of months, what you can do is you can use the month between this. Month between the two of them. First date and second date. And the new instance which we have already seen, date dot new instance. If you wanted to pass the custom date, if you want to pass custom date, what we can do, you can use the new instance, right? So year, anything custom date you wanted to pass it, in that case you can use the new instance. Parse is the one if you want to convert the string data to the date. Now, for example, here we have taken the format. Format is the string. It is changing the format of the date as well as it is updating the date date data type. Now you wanted to convert this, whatever this format is there. This format you wanted to convert from the date to string to date. You wanted to convert from string to date. In that case, what you can do is you can convert using the parse. Let's take an example. Now, for example, I'll just show you one example. System.debug. Now here I have a parse date. Plus we have a date dot, whatever the date is there. Now I'm going to parse that. Now I need to pass a string here. Now what is the string? I'll just pass the hard-coded value 1223 and 2023. 2023. You can use this also. Or else I'm going to take the parse date, like formatted date. Whatever the formatted date is there, I'm going to pass the formatted date. So this is the parse date of parse second date. Now let me execute this. Invalid date 1223. So let's take 13. Now let me execute this. Execute the highlighted one. Now debug. Right, it is taking the whatever the date is there. Now second date is 01/02/2023. Same thing, it is converted into the date. Now I can store the formatted one. Right, whenever it is converted to the date, immediately it is changing the format of the displaying the date. Immediately it is changing the formatting of the display date. Now here, when I did a format from this to this is the actual second date. Now when we did the format, it is displaying in the date, month, and then year. Now after that, again I did a parse. Immediately it changed back to the original date. That means whenever we do the parse or whenever we do the format, it will change the display of the date as well as the data type is also getting changed So parse is used in case if you wanted to convert a date to string, string to date. If you wanted to convert, you can use the parse. And the next one is a today. Now it will return the today's date, which we have already seen, date.today, which will all return the whatever the current user time zone is there, or the organization time zone is there, or the organization time zone is there. Then it is going to display the organization time zone. It is going to display the organization time zone. Right, and the next one is to start of month. It will return what is the start of the month. It will return what is the start of month. For example, if I take debug, let's go here. Now I have a date.today, which is declared at the. Now here it is declared. Now I'll take this today's date. Whatever the today's date is there, I'll take the today's date. And now I'm going to select start of the to start of month. To start of month. Now system.debug start of month plus today dot whatever the to start. I'm going to use the method to start of month. To start of month. Now let me execute this. Execute the highlighted one today. Date one dot to start of month. Execute. Now start of month is whatever the first, whatever it is there's starting of the one. Now usually the today's date is today's date, which is 11. Say that this is the today's date. Today's date. And I'm going to print the today's date here. And also I'm going to print the start of the month. Whether the start of month is the first or a second, whatever it is the start of the month, it will give the start of the month. So today's date is 11, start of the month is 1. In case if you wanted to know the start of the week, in that case system.debug, now here to start of week. Now let me execute this. Start of the week is, this week is started from 9th. This week is started from 9th. Now today is the 11th, right? So it is started from 9th, which is on Sunday. So start of the week is always Sunday. Start of the week is always Sunday. Right, so we have a start of the week also. And next, value of. Value of is basically this is also, it returns the, whether you wanted to convert from the string to the date. Okay, it returns the date that contains the value of specified string. Now you have to pass the string date, it will convert into the date format. Value of parts of both are same. When it converts, it will convert into the normal date format. YYYY-MM-DD, hours, minutes, and seconds. Hours, minutes, and seconds. Now here next one is a year. Next one is year. Now year is going to return the year of component date. Now in case if you wanted to find the year, right? So here is the year. Now, what is the year of this month, or what is the year of this, whatever the today's date is that, based on today's date, what is the year? Now that way you can find it. Now I can show you one thing. Now here we have a leap year, right? So here in the leap year, I need to pass the year. I need to pass the year. So what I can do by using the year, I can find the year and I can pass it to the leap year. I can pass it to the leap year. Now let me show you that. For example, debug, let me close all these debug logs. Close all. Debug. Now this is the today's date. Today's date, it is printing the year, month, date, everything it is printing. From this, I wanted to take the year. From this, I wanted to get the year. So in order to get the year, what I'll do is date one dot, I'm going to take the year. What is the output I'm going to get it here? What is the output will I get it? Year value. Is it an integer or a date?
Integer.
It is an integer. So basically, I can store this value into the integer. Integer, new, let's say, year 1 equal to date. Now I'm getting the year 1. Now this year 1, I'm going to pass it to the is leap year. I'm going to pass it to the is leap year. System.debug, date, leap year. I wanted to find out whether this year is a leap year or not. Now how can I find out? Date dot is leap year, and here I'm going to pass the year. The year which I'm getting it from the above, I'm going to pass it here, year 1. Now let me execute. Debug. Is it a leap year? No, it's a false. Now how about 2023? How about 2023 is not a leap year. How about 2022? Now what I'll do is I'll change the second date to 2022. Let me copy this. I'll take this second date. Second date is I'll keep it as a 2022. From this second date, I wanted to get the leap year. Now here the second date is, this is the second date. Is date, is year, is it leap year? I'm going to print the second date. Second date. Whatever the second date is there, this is the date here. Right, second date, I'm declaring the second date, printing the second date. From the second date, I'm taking the year. This year, I'm passing to the leap year. Is 2022 is the leap year or not? Click on execute the highlighted one. Which is also not a leap year. Which year is the leap year? Execute the highlighted one. Debug. It is also false. Which one is the leap year?
Twenty 2024.
Let's take it as a 2024. Get the highlighted one. Now click on this table. It's a leap year. Right, if it is a leap year, it is going to display it is a leap year. Which year? To 2024. Like this, you can identify, right? Take a notes of it, date methods. None? Okay, so let's move on. Next one is a date type. Similarly, whatever we have seen in the date, same concept with the date time. Date time is used to store the date and time. Whatever we have seen so far, it is only related to the date. Now, if you are concerned about the time, you also want to capture the time, then you can capture the time by using the date time. By using the date time, we can capture. So example, date time D2. So if you specify date time dot now, what will happen? It will give you the current date as well as the time. Now let me show you that. Now let's say here, close all of this. Now I'm going to display the date, time. Let's say here, the next one is date, time. Date, time. For date, time, we are going to add data type for date time is date time. Let's say day, date time, today date time equal to date time dot now. Date time dot now. Now I'm going to print the system dot debug. System dot debug current date and time. Current date and time plus I'm going to give executed. Now it is giving me the what are the current time as per my organization, whatever the time is there, the time. So current date time and 2023-07-11 current time is 4:18. Early morning 4:18, now 33. So that is the time as per the current organization time. This is. Now, similarly, in the date time also we have a different methods like a new instance. In the date time also we have a new instance which we can pass the year, day, hour, minute, seconds. Because here date time is which contains the hour, minute, seconds also. In the date, how we used to do in the date, we used to just pass the new instance and then year, month, day. Only up to this we used to pass for the date. Only date we used to pass it up to here. But right now it is a date time. So we need to pass the day, year, month, day, hour, minutes, and then seconds. We need to pass all of them. If you pass the custom date, then it is going to give you the date format. Now, similarly, you have a add days, whatever the concept is there in the date, the same concept in the add days. And the hour. Hour is basically if you wanted to return the hour of the component current based on the local time zone, whatever the user current hour is there. Let's say here system.debug. System.debug. Now I'll say date time dot hour. Say this current hour. Let me execute this, execute the highlighted one. Now click on the debug log. Now currently it is 9. Currently it is 9. Whatever the current time is there, it is taking the user local time zone. It is taking the user current local time zone. This one is going to take whatever the organization, but our is going to take current local time zone. Current local time zone. Whatever the local time zone of the context of the user is there, that is going to take it. Similarly, value of is same. You need to pass the string, it will convert it into the date format. Take a notes of it. Yes. These are the methods. Okay, allocation is the same. So memory does not have a specific memory. Date time, because date also it does not give you the date time. But by default, what will happen when you execute it? It is going to give you the 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. If you take the date time, it will specify the specific 0, 1 minutes is something 20 minutes and seconds 10 seconds. And these are the methods. Methods are just it is going to give you the output. There is nothing related to memory here. Done. Completed. Okay. Next primitive data type is Boolean. Boolean, as it says, it's a Boolean means true or false. Booleans are used to store true and false values. Example, Boolean num1 equal to 2. Right? You can also convert this, whatever the Boolean is there, you can convert into the string. Now Boolean value is a true. Now you can convert that into the string value by using the value of. By using the value of, you can convert it. Now, for example, The output of this date dot is leap year. What is the output I am getting it? What is the output of date dot is leap year? What is the output I got it?
True.
Output for this. So either it is true or false, right? So here if I say Boolean value, here value equal to this. Comment out this date type for now. Then I'm going to print this system dot debug. System dot debug. Now this is the Boolean value. Now what is the year value? I'm going to store that year value here. Now let me execute. Value is true. Now this true, I wanted to convert into the string. This true, I wanted to convert into the string. In case if I wanted to convert this into the string, what I can do is I can just specify the debug. Here I can specify value. So here it is Boolean dot value of. I can specify the value here and let's convert this. This is the string value. String value. Now let me execute this. It is giving me the string value in true. Now, for example, if you wanted to store this value, you wanted to store this value. Can you store this value in the Boolean? Store this value into Boolean. Can I store it? What will happen if I execute this? I'm converting the Boolean value of whatever this value is there. That value, I'm converting it. Now here, value of, it is giving me the string. Let's say here, new value of. What is the value that I'm going to get it? Accepted or not. If I'm passing here string, this string I'm converting into the Boolean. String I'm converting into the Boolean. Now here this is a Boolean value. This is already a Boolean value. Is it right whatever I have implemented? Now Boolean value, I'm taking this as a Boolean value. What I'm trying to get, this is a string value. So it should be string dot value. String dot value of. Now I'm going to get the string value. Now here I'm passing the string value and I'm converting into the Boolean and storing into the Boolean. Right? If I wanted to store this string value, where can I store it? How can I store this? Now I wanted to store this string value. I wanted to store this string value into one variable. What should be the data type? This is the Boolean value, right? Now this is the Boolean value. Now Boolean value, if I use a value of, I'm passing here the Boolean value. What is the output will I get it for this? Others? What is the value which I'll get it? Now I have a value of, here I have a value string. Okay. This string I wanted to convert into the Boolean. I wanted to convert into the Boolean. Now what should I need to do? I converted string I wanted to convert into the Boolean, or string I wanted to convert into the date. How do I convert it? What are the string is there? This here, assume that the string is some value is there. Now here it is the true is the value. Here it is the true is the value. Now how do I convert this string to the Boolean? Which method do I use it? If I wanted to convert string to Boolean, first of all, I need to use, while converting it, I need to specify, you are going to move from string to Boolean, so that it will be Boolean dot value of. Boolean dot value of, I can provide this entire string. Now here I can provide the entire string. Right? String to Boolean. If you want to convert the string to Boolean, first specify the which are the data type you are converting it, that data type you have to convert. Have to specify there. The data type you have to specify. Then dot value of, then you need to provide the whatever the string is there, that string you need to provide. Now tell me, if I have a string, string is there is a date is there in the string, like it is available in the quotation 21 hyphen, let's say 2/3/2023. Now, if I wanted to convert to the date, what would I need to do? If I wanted to convert this string to date, what should I need to do? we are converting from string to date. That means the left side, this is the equal to, right? The left side, you are expecting the date format. When you are expecting the date format, you have to always use the date. Date dot value of. Value of, you need to provide the date of that. Then it will convert. So that means I'm saying here date. Let's say this is the variable name, new date equal to date dot value of /3/2023. You can use the parse also. If you are using the parse, you can directly specify without any date dot value. You can just specify the parse. Whatever the string is there, you can specify the string there. So this is the right side, what is the data type? Here it is a string. Left side, what is the data type? It is a date. Now string to date, I cannot initialize it, right? I cannot initialize it. Here this side I have a date. Here this side I have a date. And right side I have a string. If I try to execute, I'll get an error saying that illegal assignment. I'll get illegal assignment from the string to date. Now, in order to handle this, now whatever the left side is there, I need to use the left side date dot value of. Date dot value of. I'm going to specify within the string here. I'm going to specify the string. Now, in case if I have a left side, Boolean, left side I have a Boolean. If I have a Boolean and the other side I have a string, which is not possible, string to Boolean, I cannot set it. In that case, I need to specify the Boolean dot, whatever the value of is there. So value of, I need to provide the string. Here I need to provide the string. Clear? Any questions on this or any confusion? Is that clear? Conversion. Okay. Sunita, is that clear? Vasavi, is that clear? Suman, Sujata, is that clear? Any questions? Srivali, Shravan. So now I can convert it and I can store it. So that is the Boolean. Next one we have a ID. ID is just if we use it for the unique identification to store the unique identification. Basically 18-digit identification number in the Lightning platform. For example, ID equal to account ID equal to, you can specify the 18-digit, but we do not hard code in the real time. We do not hard code this in the real time. We only use it for the querying the data from the database. So we should not be doing the hard coding of this. This is just an example I'm showing it, but in the real time, we do not hard code anything. Right? So I can specify here ID equal to, I'll just specify ID equal to account ID equal to whatever I'm getting it from the query. So from the list, for example, I have a account list dot single record .0.id. Right? I can store like this. I can store the account place.id. So like this, we will store it. So this is, we will see when we are going further, we will see how to do it. But which is nothing but you are hard coding, you are defining the value here. You are defining the value here. So whenever you wanted to store the unique identification or 18-digit character, 18-digit record ID, whenever you wanted to store. So in that case, we need to identify. In that case, you need to identify the. If you wanted to store the 18-digit record ID, then you can store it into the data type called ID. Data type called ID. So far we have seen the types of data type, which are the primitive data type. Primitive data type, all the data types we have seen. Tomorrow we will see the S object data types and the collection data types, and then we will little bit about the enumerous data type. Now questions, how to find the number of days between the 2 days? How do you find the number of days between the 2 days, 2 dates? The days between. Now, how to find a hour from date time based on the local time zone? Right. We will use the hour. What are different data types in the Salesforce?
Primitive S object enumeration.
Right. So total 4: primitive data type, S object data type, collection data type, enumeration. Now what is the S of, no, this is, we have not seen. Now take a assignment, write a Apex program to convert the string date to date time. You need to convert the string date. That means this side you have a string date. So here it is equal to, this time you have a date time. This time you have a date time. And this time, this side you have a string date. So within the string you have a 2/1/ and 2023. This is in the string. Now you wanted to convert this string to the date time. Now that's how you need to implement a logic. And the second assignment, write a program to get milliseconds from the date time. We have a milliseconds in the date time. How do you get the milliseconds? Try to research and find the method, which is what is the method. Or else, if you go here, no, I'm only using the date time. Specify here dot. We can find it. What are the methods that are available? But in case if you want to find a milliseconds, you can find it from here. Assignment 3, write a program to find the 2040 is the leap year or not. 2040 is the leap year or not. Write a program to find out is it a leap year or not. Assignment 4, create a new custom object vehicle and create a new field, vehicle name, model, color, buyer name, license number. Create a new vehicle record from the Apex. This is not there. No, leave that. So today just created this assignment. Okay, so create a custom object vehicle. You field this vehicle name, model, color, buyer name, license number. Create this object. And we'll bring you the trial run. That's all for today.